When it's dark and dreary in these winter months, what do you most like to do? I'm hoping that some of you might say you love to sit by a cosy fire and listen to a good story. That's a great way to make your heart warm and bring good cheer. Hello everyone, I'm Kathleen Pelly. Welcome to the special omnibus edition of Journey with Story, where you can listen to all of this month's episodes in one single sitting. Oh, mums and dads, and all of you grown-ups, you might be interested in a little handout that I have available on my website that gives you lots of tips on raising kids who love to read. Of course, I know you're interested in that because you're already sharing this storytelling podcast with your little ones. So go to www.journeywithstory.com and click on the Resources tab at the top. And you can also find the link in our episode notes. Now, let's take an omnibus journey with story. Now, let's take an encore episode with How the Moon Became Beautiful. The moon is very beautiful, with his round, bright face, which shines with soft and gentle light on all the world of man. But once there was a time when he was not so beautiful as he is now. 6,000 years ago, the face of the moon became changed in a single night. Before that time, his face had been so dark and gloomy that no one liked to look at him. And for this reason, he was always very sad. One day, he complained to the flowers and to the stars, for they were the only things that would ever look in his face. He said,
"I do not like to be the moon. I wish I were a star or a flower. If I were a star, even the smallest one, some great general would care for me. But alas, I am only the moon, and no one likes me. If I could only be a flower and grow in a garden where the beautiful earth women come, they would place me in their hair and praise my fragrance and beauty. Or if I could even grow in the wilderness where no one could see, the birds would surely come and sing sweet songs for me. But I am only the moon, and no one honours me."
The stars answered and said, "We cannot help you. We were born here, and we cannot leave our places. We never had anyone to help us. We do our duty. We work all the day and twinkle in the dark night to make the skies more beautiful. But that is all we can do," they added, as they smiled coldly at the sorrowful moon. Then the flowers smiled sweetly and said, "We do not know how we can help you. We live always in one place, in a garden near the most beautiful maiden in all the world. And she is kind to everyone in trouble. We will tell her about you. We love her very much, and she loves us. Her name is inour." Still, the moon was sad. So one evening, he went to see the beautiful maiden, inour. And when he saw her, he loved her at once. He said,
Your face is very beautiful. I wish that you would come to me, and that my face would be as your face. Your emotions are gentle and full of grace. Come with me, and we will be as one, and perfect. I know that even the worst people in all the world would have only to look at you, and they would love you. Tell me, how did you become so beautiful?
I have always lived with those who were gentle and happy, and I believe that is the cause of beauty and goodness, answered Se Neo. And so the moon went every night to see the maiden. He knocked on her window, and she came. And when he saw how gentle and beautiful she was, his love grew stronger, and he wished more and more to be with her always. One day, Se Neo said to her mother, I should like to go to the moon and live always with him. Will you allow me to go? Her mother thought so little of the question that she made no reply, and Se Neo told her friends that she was going to be the moon's bride. In a few days, she was gone. Her mother searched everywhere but could not find her, and one of Se Neo's friends said, She has gone with the moon, for he asked her many times. A year and another year passed by, and Se Neo, the gentle and beautiful earth maiden, did not return. Then the people said, She has gone forever. She is with the moon. The face of the moon is very beautiful now. It is happy and bright and gives a soft, gentle light to all the world. And there are those who say that the moon is now like Se Neo, who was once the most beautiful of all earth maidens. Let's take a journey with Heugu and Nolbu. Many years ago, there lived two brothers named Heugu and Nolbu. They were as different as night and day. Heugu was kind, polite, and a good son to his father, while Nolbu was rude, mean, and disliked by many people. One day the father of the two brothers fell ill and called his sons to his bedside. He told them that his last wish was for the brothers to help each other as siblings and remain loyal to one another. When he finally passed on, Heugu cried a lot in grief, but his older brother was happy as he would inherit all of his father's money as well as the house they lived in. Nolbu did whatever he wanted as the new owner of the house. He immediately told his younger brother to move out. Heugu begged his brother to let them stay until they found a new home, but Nolbu ignored him. Heugu and his family had no choice but to pack their belongings and move out, living on the streets for a few days before moving to the mountainside to build a small hut for themselves. The family worked on farms, but they did not earn enough and often had to skip meals. Heugu was heartbroken when he saw his children crying over food. He went to his brother's home to ask for help. When he saw Heugu outside his house, Nolbu immediately sneered at him and asked, "Why are you here?" "My children are very hungry and have not stopped crying. Please, give us some rice, please," Heugu begged. "You should not have had so many children. I will not give you any rice, even if mine rots," Nolbu yelled at his brother before storming off. As Heugu was walking away, he saw his brother's wife preparing dinner nearby. He asked her to spare some boiled rice. But she was as cruel as his brother. "Go away, you beggar! You will not get any rice from us," she shouted fiercely as she hit him with a wooden spoon. The smack left some rice on his cheek, and Heugu asked his sister-in-law to hit him again. She frowned, wiping the spoon before hitting him again, and so Heugu returned home empty-handed. Some time passed, and spring arrived in the town. A pair of swallows built their nest on Heugu's hut, which made the whole family happy. Soon, 5 baby swallows were hatched. They grew bigger and more active over time, and one day one of the babies fell out of the nest and broke its legs on the hard ground. It started chirping non-stop, and Heugu came out of his hut to help the injured swallow. He bandaged its legs and put it back into the nest. When winter came, the 5 swallows became adults and flew away to the south. Heugu's family struggled through this winter period, but survived until spring returned. Another pair of swallows came to occupy the old bird's nest left behind, which brought joy to the family once again. On the first day, one of the swallows dropped a gourd seed in front of Heugu, who planted it and watered it every day with care. By the end of the summer, the vine had many gourds growing all over the hut. As the gourds kept growing and growing, Heugu decided to pick a few of them to open. He decided to play a game with his children, asking them to make a wish before opening the gourd. "I wish there was gold," his daughter cried out. "I wish there was rice," his son said with hope. Heugu cut open the first gourd. To his surprise, silver and gold coins started pouring out. When he saw it and opened the second gourd, rice grains split onto the ground. Heugu decided to open one more gourd, but without making a wish. Magically, the last gourd opened up to reveal a group of workers. We're here to help build you a house," the men said cheerfully before quickly getting to work. Within a few days, a beautiful home was built. Now, with a spacious house, money, and rice, Heugu and his family had everything they needed to live happily. Word spread, and Nolbu soon heard about his brother's newfound fortune. He went over to Heugu's house, glaring at him accusingly. "You must have stolen all this money." Heugu shook his head vigorously. "All I did was to help some swallows." Nolbu listened to his brother's story and decided to try and do the same thing. He hurried home and found a pair of swallows on the roof of his home. He picked up one of the baby swallows and broke its legs before bandaging them up once again and placing it back into the nest. As expected, the swallows flew off during winter and returned during the spring, dropping a gourd seed in front of Nolbu. He planted and watered it with great care, hoping to become as wealthy as his brother. Not long after, 4 gourds grew and ripened on the vine. Nolbu excitedly called his family and announced that he was going to cut open the gourds. He wished for gold and silver. His wife wished for rice, and the children wished for a bigger house. When Nolbu opened the first gourd, smelly animal dung poured out. He opened the second one and dozens of poisonous snakes crawled out. "Those two are rotten, the third one must be good," said Nolbu. When he cut open the third gourd, goblins flooded out and started to beat Nolbu up. Nolbu refused to give up, hoping that the last gourd would give him what he wanted. He opened it up, and a flood of water came gushing out. There was so much water that it destroyed his home and all of his family's belongings. His greed caused Nolbu to lose everything. He was full of disbelief and regret, unsure of what he should do next. With his head hung low, he walked over to his brother's house with tears in his eyes. "Heugu, I am so sorry for how I treated you. Please forgive me," he sobbed as he knelt on the ground. Heugu helped his older brother from the ground. He swept his arms open to welcome him, saying, "There is nothing to worry about, big brother. We have plenty of rooms and food for both our families." Despite Nolbu's past actions, Heugu still regarded him as family and was ready to help him. Touched by his younger brother's kindness, Nolbu turned over a new leaf and let go of his greed. Both brothers and their families lived together happily for many years. Now, let's take a journey with The Magic Orange Tree, a folktale from Haiti, and this version is retold by Diane Volkstein. There was once a girl whose mother died when she was born. Her father waited for some time to remarry, but when he did, he married a woman who was both mean and cruel. She was so mean, there were some days she would not give the girl anything at all to eat. The girl was often hungry. One day, the girl came home from school and saw on the table 3 round, ripe oranges. They smelled good. The girl looked around her. No one was there. She took one orange, peeled it, and ate it. It was good. She took a second orange and ate it. She ate the third orange. Oh, she was so happy. But soon, her stepmother came home. "Who has taken the oranges I left on the table?" she said. "Whoever has done so had better say their prayers now, for they will not be able to say them later." The girl was so frightened, she ran from the house. She ran through the woods until she came to her own mother's grave, and all night she cried and prayed to her mother to help her. And finally she fell asleep. In the morning the sun woke her, and as she rose to her feet, something dropped from her skirt onto the ground. What was it? It was an orange pit. And the moment it entered the earth, a green leaf sprouted from it. The girl watched amazed. She knelt down and sang, "Orange tree, grow and grow and grow. Orange tree, grow and grow and grow. Orange tree, stepmother is not real mother. Orange tree." The orange tree grew. It grew to the size of the girl, and the girl sang, "Orange tree, branch and branch and branch. Orange tree, branch and branch and branch. Orange tree, stepmother is not real mother. Orange tree." and many twisting, turning, curving branches appeared on the tree. Then the girl sang, "Orange tree, flower and flower and flower. Orange tree, flower and flower and flower. Orange tree, stepmother is not real mother. Orange tree." Beautiful white blossoms covered the tree. After a time they began to fade, and small green buds appeared where the flowers had been. The girl sang, "Orange tree, ripen and ripen and ripen. Orange tree, ripen and ripen and ripen. Orange tree, stepmother is not real mother. Orange tree." The oranges ripened, and the whole tree was filled with golden oranges. The girl was so delighted, she danced around and around the tree, singing, "Orange tree, grow and grow and grow. Orange tree, grow and grow and grow. Orange tree, stepmother is not real mother. Orange tree." Then, when she looked, she saw the orange tree had grown up to the sky, far beyond her reach. What was she to do? No, she was a clever girl. She sang, "Orange tree, lower and lower and lower. Orange tree, lower and lower and lower. Orange tree, stepmother is not real mother. Orange tree." When the orange tree came down to her height, she filled her arms with oranges and returned home. The moment the stepmother saw the gold oranges in the girl's arms, she seized them and began to eat them. Soon she had finished them all. "Tell me, my sweet," she said to the girl, "where have you found such delicious oranges?" The girl hesitated. She did not want to tell. The stepmother seized the girl's wrist and began to twist it. "Tell me," she ordered. The girl led the stepmother through the woods to the orange tree. You remember the girl was very clever. Well, as soon as the girl came to the tree, she sang, "Orange tree, grow and grow and grow. Orange tree, grow and grow and grow. Orange tree, stepmother is not real mother. Orange tree." And the orange tree grew up to the sky. What was a stepmother to do then? She began to plead and beg. "Please," she said, "you shall be my own dear child. You may always have as much as you want to eat. Tell the tree to come down, and you shall pick the oranges for me." So the girl quietly sang, "Orange tree, lower and lower and lower. Orange tree, lower and lower and lower. Orange tree, stepmother is not real mother. Orange tree." The tree began to lower. When it came to the height of the stepmother, she leapt on it and began to climb so quickly you might have thought she was the daughter of an ape. And as she climbed from branch to branch, she ate every orange. The girl saw that there would soon be no oranges left. What would happen to her then? The girl sang, "Orange tree, grow and grow and grow. Orange tree, grow and grow and grow. Orange tree, stepmother is not real mother. Orange tree." The orange tree grew and grew and grew and grew. "Help!" cried the stepmother as she rose into the sky. "Help!" The girl cried, "Break, orange tree, break!" The orange tree broke into 1,000 pieces, and the stepmother as well. Then the girl searched among the branches until she found a tiny orange pit. She carefully planted it in the earth, and softly she sang, "Orange tree, grow and grow and grow. Orange tree, grow and grow and grow. Orange tree, stepmother is not real mother. Orange tree." The orange tree grew to the height of the girl, and then the tree twisted and curled, lowering its arms for the girl to reach and pick the oranges. From that day forward, the girl was able to take her oranges to the market every day, and people came from far and near to buy the sweetest fruit in all the islands from the cleverest girl in all the islands. Now, let's take a journey with The Legend of the Hummingbird. Long ago, before mankind walked the earth, the animals roamed freely across the land. They lacked for nothing and enjoyed living their lives with few concerns. Food was bountiful and none went hungry. However, something changed over time. The animals became greedy and selfish. From the great grizzly bear to the smallest squirrel, the animals began hoarding resources. Bickering and fighting often broke out. While there had been harmony before, discord reigned supreme. The Great Spirit looked down upon the animals' selfishness and was displeased. As punishment for their deeds, the Great Spirit cast a shroud of darkness over the land. The animals became fearful. They had never known such darkness before. Out of fear, they sought out the greatest among them, the grizzly bear. "What is this darkness?" Wolf asked Bear. Being the wisest, Bear answered, "The Great Spirit has placed a shroud over the land. We must try to remove it. Who among you is willing to undertake this task?" Wolf spoke first. "I will reach up and bring the shroud down." Wolf then went to the tallest mountain. He found that he could not reach the shroud, so he stood on his hind legs. No matter how far he stretched, he could not reach the shroud. Defeated, and with his tail between his legs, he returned to Bear. "I could not reach the shroud." Bear thought quietly for a moment before he spoke. "Wolf could not reach the shroud. I shall go myself to remove it." And Bear started off for the highest mountain. When he reached the peak, he reached for the shroud, but could not touch it. He stood on his hind legs, yet it remained out of reach. Seeing a nearby tree, Bear climbed to the top. Reaching, he still could not grab the shroud. Bear returned to the animals. "I could not reach the shroud, even at the top of a tree on the highest mountain." The animals wailed in fear. Owl, whose wisdom was second only to Bear's, caught everyone's attention. "I have an idea." Bear quieted the upset animals. "Silence, let Owl speak. Let us all go to the mountain top and stand on each other's shoulders. With his strength, Bear will be on the bottom and I will be on the top. From there, I will fly up and remove the shroud." The animals agreed that it was a good plan and made their way to the top of the mountain. Once there, Bear steadied himself. The animals began climbing on the backs of each other. Slowly, they began rising, higher and higher. They went above the clouds and closer to the darkness. From the top, Owl launched into flight. Owl soared as high as he could. With a talon, he reached for the shroud, but it was still too far away. Exhausted, Owl fell to the tower of animals. He struck them and knocked the entire tower down. Injured and defeated, the animals despaired. As Bear tried to think of a way to remove the shroud, a small hummingbird approached him. "I can do it," Hummingbird said. Bear laughed. "You, of all the greatest animals in the forest, couldn't bring the shroud down." "I can do it," repeated Hummingbird. Bear snorted. "Go ahead, but if the best of us can't do it, you surely can't." Hummingbird nodded, then took to the sky. His wings were a blur as he furiously climbed. He passed the clouds and the highest point that Owl had reached. Flying higher than he had ever flown, Hummingbird used all his speed. His strength started giving out and his speed slowed, yet still he kept flying. Pushing himself further than he ever had before, Hummingbird's tiny beak penetrated the shroud. With no energy left, Hummingbird fell to the earth. Once on the ground, he rested. The animals gathered around Hummingbird in silent shock. Bear only pointed to the shroud. Hummingbird looked to the sky. Amid the permeating darkness, a single dot of light shone brightly, where his beak had broken through the shroud. Still breathing heavily, Hummingbird got to his tiny feet. The other animals watched as he took flight and shot once again towards the shroud. Again, Hummingbird flew as fast and as high as he could. He was able to stick his beak through once more before falling back to the earth. After a moment's rest, he got up and flew again. Hummingbird repeated his incredible flight over and over again, each time piercing the shroud so that a pinpoint of light could shine through. He continued flying despite the immense strain put on his tiny body. Hummingbird was starting to weaken. The resting period between flights became longer. His breathing started to become uneven and laboured. Yet he persisted and flew to the shroud so many times that the other animals lost count. After one of his longer rests, Hummingbird brushed himself off and flew. He flew the fastest he had ever flown in his life. He shot up to the perforated shroud at an incredible pace. Hummingbird felt his energy leaving, yet he continued. He flew ever higher until his entire head went through the shroud. Having spent the last of his energy, he fell to the earth and drew his final breath. The Great Spirit was moved by the bravery and resolve of the hummingbird. His voice rang out for all to hear.
"Hear me. I placed the shroud as punishment for your selfish ways, but the actions of the brave hummingbird have softened my heart. Therefore, I will lessen the punishment. But the shroud will remain to remind you what the hummingbird did here today."
And so it was done. Half of the time the shroud was lifted, bringing the light back to the earth. The other half was marked by the return of the darkness. Only now there were countless pinpoints of light from where Hummingbird had poked his beak through. And looming in the night sky, a large, bright disk shone where the Hummingbird's head went through the shroud. And that is how night and day came into being. I hope you enjoyed this special omnibus edition of Journey with Story. And don't forget, if you had a favourite story, do let us know. Just go to www.journeywithstory.com, click on the Contact Us, and fill in the form. And if you want to be considered for a shout out on the show, send us your drawings there too. Click on Contact Us, fill in the form, and attach your drawing there. You can also see the link in our episode notes. Cheerio then. Join me next time for Journey with Story. Music and post-production was by Colette Jonas.